They break, they steal, no one here is free. Here they come for thee. Unless you listen to Dave and Stacie.
Welcome back, everyone. This is Dave with the Core Productions Deep Dive TV podcast, and we are doing from basically talking about reactions of season 4, the finale specifically, some random smattering of stuff along the way related to From.
Our Fromily conversation is continuing.
Yes.
Because it's From. We never stop talking about From.
I gotta say that I absolutely love the show. I love talking about it. Like I said in the Under the Dome podcast, which I'm sure nobody will listen to that one. Even the lesser episodes, give me something to sink my teeth into. They give me something to talk about.
Yeah.
And we're probably going to do an hour, and we don't even have an episode to talk about here. But, so, birthday shout-outs?
We do. We got some birthdays this coming week. Next week, we have, on Sunday, July 12th, we have a friend of the channel, Sheldon Garland. He was in the show Revival, which is on a Sci-Fi channel. There's rumors it's going to be going somewhere else soon, but that's not official yet. So check out Revival if you haven't.
Unfortunately, not new seasons because it was
not
canceled.
New seasons.
But...
Well, it wasn't actually canceled. It just wasn't renewed.
Right.
There was never an official cancellation announced.
Yeah, but
because
the longer,
NBC Universal.
Right. The longer that went on, it was obvious it wasn't coming back. But
yeah. Happy birthday. And on the same day, we have Conrad Coates, who was also in Revival. He played Mayor Ken Delish. He also was in Totally Killer. Conrad turns 56 this week.
Oh, wow.
Happy birthday to you. We also have on July 12th, Walter Perez, who played Martinez on the Quantum Leap Revival. Turning 44 this week. On Monday, we have From's own Hannah Cherami, who plays Julie. She's turning 23 this week.
Happy 23rd birthday. I'm sure you can drink earlier in Canada anyway than 21, but yeah, she's well past that either way. But yes.
What is the drinking age in Canada?
I think it's 18.
Is it?
I could be wrong, but I think I remember it being 18 when I was younger.
I mean, the drinking age was 18 here at one point, too.
Yes, but when I was younger, it was 21, even back then, so...
Well, let us know. What's the current drinking age in Canada? Happy birthday to Hannah. On Wednesday the 15th, we have Eli Arsenault, who plays young Victor. He's turning 15.
15.
Which is probably why we haven't seen young Victor in a while.
I mean, we still have Simon Webster who's playing 9, who's actually 14 years old.
I know.
So.
I know. But we haven't seen... I don't think we've seen Eli since... Season 2.
Oh, that's crazy. So, yeah, he's probably quite a bit older looking at this point.
Right. Also, on the 15th, we have Martin Roach, who played Chief Ashworth on The Institute. He's turning 64 this week. If you haven't watched The Institute, that's also on MGM+. And this is a great time to watch it while From is on hiatus. Season 1 is out there, and Season 2 has completed filming, and it's coming out this fall.
I'm excited for that.
We cover that series as well.
Yes.
So if you haven't watched Season 1, go watch it, and then go listen to all of our podcasts about Season 1.
Yes, absolutely.
So happy birthday to Martin. And then on Saturday, July 18th, we have Courtion Moore. That is Ellis. And he is turning 28.
Yes, 28. Wow.
28. And that's all the birthdays for the coming week. So happy birthday to everybody. There actually were more birthdays on our birthday calendar. But you can check those out in our Under the Dome podcast, which Dave just mentioned. It'll be coming out in a few days. If you're not watching Under the Dome, I do think it's watchable. If you're looking for something to watch in the realm of, people trapped in a place, it is enjoyable, I think, to some extent, especially for a first watch through.
Right.
I'm not loving covering it, to be honest, and breaking it apart, because it's really easy to break apart, and if you think about it too hard, it's not any good at all.
No.
But it's based on a book by Stephen King. The book is awesome, and Jack Bender directs a whole bunch of episodes, including the one we're covering this week.
Yes, absolutely.
So there is definitely some From connections there.
Right.
You do see Jack Bender's artwork in Under the Dome. So if you've never watched it, I do recommend watching it. But you're not going to love it the way you love From. So
All right. So we got some other business to talk about before getting into comments.
Just, things going on. Here's the interesting thing about this little season 4 overturn is we're still talking about season 4. They've already started filming season 5.
Which is exciting.
It's exciting, but it's such a different thing than we've experienced before with this. This is the first time that they've started filming immediately after the last season ended.
Mm-hmm.
Because from season 1 to 2, I don't remember how long the break it was. It wasn't terribly long, but I don't think they got that early renewal. And then this is when Epic switched to MGM Plus, and it was this whole thing, right? And we weren't talking about it yet, so we weren't even deep in that conversation. We picked it up right ahead of season 2 starting. Between season 2 and 3, that's when the strikes were happening.
Yes.
And they were doing the winter shoot, so there was a gap. And then because they wanted to get back onto summer filming, there was that huge gap between season 3 and 4. So after season 2 and after season 3, we had this extended period of time where we as an audience, as a Fromily, are harboring on breaking down every clue within the last season and the cliffhangers from the finale before news started flooding about filming of the new season, right?
Right.
And here we are, where it's all happening at the same time. We are just now breaking down everything that happened in season 4 and analyzing it at the same time. New stuff's coming in. The cast is posting behind the scenes, and they're filming. They started filming season 5 on Monday, July 6th.
It's exciting. Which means...
It's crazy that it's happening so fast. It means we are on schedule.
Which means we should have it maybe sometime mid-year next year.
I'm expecting it in the spring. That's their regular, this was their original format. They film in the summer and it airs in the spring.
Mm-hmm.
It's always been a 5-month shoot. They film in 2-episode blocks. Each block they spend a month on. So it's a 5-month shoot, and then however long post-production takes.
Which is at least a couple months.
A couple months.
Yeah.
And I feel like we're on track to have it around the same time next year as we did this year. Now, of course, there's no official announcement about that yet, and there's not going to be until they get a fair chunk of the filming done and they know nothing stupid weird's going to happen. They're not going to promise us when it's coming out and then they get delayed, right?
Right.
Because then they have to.
There's already BS out there about it coming out in May. That's misinformation. Unless it comes from an official source, you really need to check into where things are coming from. Don't just believe random Facebook posts about anything, because there's a lot of garbage out there, as we discussed in the season finale podcast.
Right.
MGM
has said 2027. That is out there. They have said they're expecting it to drop in 2027. Now, it's our best judgment that's probably happening sometime in the spring versus the fall.
Yes.
But it's always possible they get delayed, something happens, and it doesn't come out till the fall.
Right.
But I'm fairly confident to say that their goal is to release it sometime in the spring.
Mm-hmm. And I'm both excited and terrified at the same time, because that's a crucial season.
Right.
It's going to determine the show's ultimate legacy when it comes down to it.
Also, this feels like the right place to bring up the fact there's a rumor there's going to be 13 episodes. That is not true. MGM has never said that. We have confirmation from cast that it's a 5-month shoot, which means 10 episodes.
Right. So
I'm pretty sure that's complete and total baloney, whoever came up with the 13-episode rumor. I don't think there's anything to back that up whatsoever.
Right.
So we can expect 10 episodes just like usual. And hopefully it'll be in the first half of the year it'll start versus later in the year.
Okay.
But it's coming.
It absolutely is.
And it's coming sooner than later. It's not going to be a 3-year wait. They're filming it now.
Yes. And hopefully I'll still be alive when it comes out so I can see how this series concludes.
I would hope so.
Yes.
I would hope you're alive for the 20-year reunion, Dave. Other news with the start of filming. This feels like ridiculous Hollywood gossip, but it's relevant to the show. Hannah Cherami cut her hair.
Yes.
She posted on Instagram pictures of her haircut. So apparently, they decided in season 4 not to cut her hair and give her that ridiculous wig that the whole season everybody was teasing about. I'm guessing between her and the production, they didn't want any more of that. And she's actually cut her hair to short Julie hair at this point.
Gotcha. I wish they had done that for season 4.
I wish they had too. My guess was that Hannah didn't want to cut her hair, but I saw people saying, and I didn't see this for myself, but I saw multiple people saying that she had posted somewhere that she wanted to cut her hair, but they wouldn't let her.
Okay, that's weird.
They wanted to use the wig, but that doesn't make any sense to me.
Right.
And people were saying, oh, so they could have the long hair for flashbacks, but they didn't do any long hair flashbacks.
Right.
And if they were going to, wouldn't it make more sense to use the wig for that one-off scene versus every scene we see her in?
Right.
Which I'm sure that's what they'll end up doing. You know, if she encounters her old self or we do any flashbacks to before Julie cut her hair, she would, of course, now need to wear a wig for those scenes.
Yeah, I'm not one to usually comment on wigs or, such as, things like that. But this one happened to be really, really bad. Yeah. And I don't necessarily blame the people making fun of her for it because it was a bad wig.
Right.
I do think it got a little ridiculous, but still, I do understand that. Yes, I do agree with people who thought it was a bad wig.
Yeah.
And yes,
we can confirm now. The only time in season 5 we're going to see a wig on Hannah is if she needs to shoot a long-haired scene.
Gotcha.
Because now her real hair is the length of that season 4 wig.
Do you need a wig or maybe just do like hair extensions?
I guess they could do that too.
Right.
Whichever.
I'm not really familiar with hair technology, so yeah.
I mean, I feel like you wouldn't put hair extensions in just for a one-day shoot.
Gotcha.
That's more of a long-term thing.
Okay.
Like Catalina wears hair extensions.
Oh.
I've seen people talk about her hair extensively.
I have never noticed. I guess they just don't have anything better to do with their time. And this is why the reasons why they miss so many things that they should not be missed. But
I feel like it's opposite sides, really.
Right.
There's the people who I don't know who this character is or what anybody's name is or what's going on. And then there's people who are paying attention to hair and makeup.
The minute details, like the stuff that I generally don't care about, but yes.
I mean, sometimes it's relevant.
Yes.
You know?
Yep.
But that is a little window into what's going on in filming. We also had, I think it was Hannah also, who had posted a picture of Round Table from their first table read, which happened, I think, last week. Just showing hey, yeah, we're here, we're doing it. It's so cool that confirmation, it is happening. This is not a rumor.
Right.
And we knew this ahead of time.
We did.
But people weren't going to believe us because nobody ever believes us because they think we don't know things.
But they're wrong.
We know things sometimes because we do talk to these people.
Yes, we do.
We do. And if you don't believe that, go check out our interviews tab because guess who we just interviewed?
Yeah, we have a really exciting, well, I wouldn't say exciting, but a really fun conversation with Elizabeth Saunders and her husband, Cliff Saunders.
Who play Donna and Dale. We had a great conversation with them. And, of course, we have lots of older stuff in there of interviews from the cast and crew that we've talked to. So, yeah, we have contacts within production.
Right.
We're not making shit up when we say we heard something. When we say, oh, we heard this, it means we heard it from somebody in the know. But we're not necessarily going to name drop them.
Right. Yep. So, yeah, check out that interview if you haven't already. It's some good stuff.
It is some good stuff. They were a pleasure to talk to.
Oh, absolutely.
An hour went by so fast talking to them.
It absolutely did.
I think we only got through half the questions we had planned, which is crazy because usually we run out of questions by the time an hour comes.
And yeah, it's funny because, a lot of the basic questions that we ask, what was it like to work with Harold Perrineau, for instance? That never once came up. We didn't talk about their earlier careers.
Right.
It was just very, very conversational and they were a joy to talk to and very easy to talk to, I would say. Yeah,
we had that. We conducted that interview right before, literally when we hung up, Elizabeth was going to pack for her flight to Halifax to begin production.
Yep. Which is kind of nuts to think about. We were still freshly on her mind when she went to start filming, from season 5. Anyway. So yeah, check out that interview.
Yeah. So lots of stuff happening, and again, we've got the season 4 wrap up overlapping with new season 5 stuff coming out. But because the season ended, we do have a lot of the cast and crew posting all of their season 4 behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
They were waiting till the season was over, a lot of them, to avoid any potential spoilers. But now that that's done, you can check out any cast and crew members, like, socials, and they're all putting up tons and tons of behind the scene pictures and videos and great things. 2 of those I want to point out specifically for people to go check out. One is Matt Likely. He is the what is his title? Production
set designer or something?
Set designer.
Yeah, something like that.
He's like the head of the set production department.
Gotcha.
I know I'm missing words in that.
Yep.
But he every season after the season ends, he puts out these beautiful videos just kind of highlighting the set design from that year. So he put out this great video all about season 4 and everything that they created to make this world come alive for season 4. So go check that out. It's posted on YouTube and Facebook, and I think he put it on Instagram as well. Of course, if you're on Instagram, you're not getting the full view because we're seeing a vertical view. So go check it out on Facebook or YouTube to get the full experience. The other one I want to highlight is Patrick Baxter, the amazing makeup artist. He's the head of the FX makeup department. Him and his team do such amazing work, right?
I want to get this guy on our channel so
We've
bad.
been trying for a long time now. He's a little reluctant. We're in contact with him. We've talked to him, like, in text, but we haven't convinced him to come on the channel. And he posted tons of stuff over the last week or two. So make sure you're checking him out as well. Specifically, he posted these amazing, like, full walkthroughs of Eugene Sampunk's transformation as Raggedy Roger. Amazing. Super amazing. Like, just seeing all the behind the scenes of all the different layers that went into those. And it was just a couple little scenes in the final product. Few seconds here and a few seconds there. And it's like this whole production that went into it. There's, the makeups on the actor, and then there's the full body dummy, which is what we see when we see the corpse. And then there was a half body dummy involved to do some of the practical effects. And he breaks it all down, shows videos and pictures and all this stuff, and explains it all beautifully of everything that went into it and all of the people and companies that went into making all of those different prosthetics.
Wow.
So make sure you check that out. Some pretty amazing stuff.
All right. And do we have anything else before I get into viewer comments?
Well, this gets us, this is a good segue into our discussion again about season 4 and the season 4 finale, and that's that a little detail came public, which we knew about.
We did.
A birdie told us this, and this is, again, one of those cases where people tell us things that we don't know if they're supposed to tell us, and, we don't talk about because we don't know if we're supposed to talk about them.
We definitely don't want to get people in trouble.
Right.
Or ourselves, for that matter.
So a birdie told us this detail, which we had kind of sat on. Like, that's cool to know, but we didn't share it with our audience. And now we can talk about it because it's become public knowledge, because Harold Perrineau spilled the beans about this in an interview. Whether he was supposed to or not, I don't know, but Harold's not getting in trouble. He's Harold Perrineau.
Right. You're fired, Harold Perrineau.
He spilled the beans during an interview about someone who originally was going to die in the season 4 finale, and then the script changed. So let's talk about that. And because now that it's public, now I feel like we can talk about it.
Yes. So our little birdie that we're not going to name, I think if you look back into things, maybe you can figure out who this person might have been. But, yeah, they told us that Patty, played by Trina Corkum, was originally supposed to die.
Yeah. So the original script for the finale called for when they're driving in the van and Patty's freaking out and she grabs the gun. She was supposed to be successful in her attempts to unalive herself.
Gotcha. So she was supposed to be able to shoot herself in the face.
Yeah, that's what was
And not a
originally going to happen in the original script for the finale. And then I don't know if it's been said who made the decision, but somewhere in the creative team they made a decision that that was just a little much, and they pulled back on that death. Which I'm glad they did, because that means Patty survived another day to make an appearance in season 5, and we're going to get to see Trina Corkum again.
Right.
Now, I'm fairly confident they're going to kill her very quickly.
Oh, I'm sure.
In 501 or maybe 502. She's going to be one of the first ones to die. I feel very confident about that.
Yes.
Her days are definitely limited. She's not going to be someone to make it to the end.
No, Patty's the lone survivor at the end of season 5. Yeah, that'd be funny, but no, I think she's going to die very early.
Yeah, but I'm happy that we're going to get to see her go into season 5, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, that was the original plan, and I agree that would have been a lot to have somebody to watch. I mean, we've had a self-unaliving in From before.
Yeah, but we didn't watch it happen.
We didn't see it.
Right.
Right. This would have been very over the top to watch it happen.
Right. All right. Should I just dive into the comments?
Let's get into the comments because that's going to lead us to lots of other conversations about where we're at right now. Feedback about things that happened in the finale, thoughts people are having up to this point, theories, and all that good stuff. So, what do we got?
All right. Gerard, who made a number of comments in a number of places. I'm going to start with some random comments.
Our assistant producer, Gerard.
Our assistant producer, Gerard. Okay, so he says, I think for the better or worse, the Lost comparisons are something a lot of the show's fan base are picking up on, and it's becoming a bit polarizing, giving Lost perceived nature and story beats to some people. I'm hoping From sticks to the landing better than From personally, and leaves no questions unanswered, but only time will tell. All right, so first of all, don't make me have to stand in between you and Stacie as she tries to attack you because you're bashing Lost, which is not really what he's doing, but still.
No, he didn't say they were dead the whole time.
Right, yes.
And I haven't talked to Gerard about this. It's not a subject I want to broach because I don't want to end up in a civil war with any of our friends.
Right.
But that is the hill I will die on.
Right.
All of television, that is my hill. They were not dead the whole time.
Yes.
And the ending made perfect sense if you understood it.
Yeah, I personally...
And if anybody wants me to explain that to them, I'd be happy to. Get in touch with me if you want to have that conversation.
All right, so personally, I found the Lost finale to be, perfectly satisfying. It did answer like 99% of the questions. The series itself did. And I think that From would be lucky to do so well, honestly.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
I think From season 5 has a lot to do.
Right.
And it's a bit concerning, but...
Where we currently sit...
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, I think I just interrupted your thought.
Yeah.
But where we currently sit, I feel like From is not in line to answer as many questions as Lost did. And people who say, oh, Lost left so many questions, I don't feel like it did. Mm-hmm. It didn't 100% explain everything. Nothing's ever going to.
Right.
We're not going to get 100% explanation of every little detail of From. It's not going to happen.
Right.
But we need the broad strokes explained to us.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think the broader strokes will probably be explained. I think a lot of these other questions, the littler questions, probably might remain a mystery. And I think part of it is the fact that a lot of the questions that people have, one, they have been answered, but also they're raising questions that the creators never intended for us to ask.
Right.
So they're not going to answer those questions because they themselves didn't actually think about that. But yeah, so moving along from that, he says regarding the interview with Donna, with Elizabeth Saunders and Cliff Saunders, Donna looks much younger in person. I wonder if it's a combination of makeup and lighting to give her character a more authoritative look. Well, we didn't actually see her in person, neither did you, but I hear what you're saying.
He means out of character.
Yeah, and I agree. She does look much younger.
Oh, Elizabeth looked amazing.
And, it's funny because she doesn't even sound like Donna. Doesn't really sound like her character, so she's definitely a very different person from Donna.
Well, that tells you she's a good actress.
That's where I'm going with that.
Just like, look at Scott McCord when he's not in the character of Victor.
Right, yes.
You can't recognize him as being the same person.
Nope. The idea that I'd like to see more explained as it relates to this, and as you both sort of touched lightly, is the updates in technology and building structures as the cycles progress. Do the new buildings with new technology and jukeboxes from the perspective of the original villager monsters just appear whole cloth? Smiley seems very interested in the bus when he went into it. Was it the first time he'd seen one? What becomes of the older, out-of-date buildings? I hope we learn more about that in Season 5. Do you have anything to say about that?
I mean, we've been saying that straight along. That's one thing I want an explanation for, is where did these mid-century buildings come from? And we, I think, have pretty much decided on our own that they just popped into existence one day. But I need to see some evolution of the physical landscape of this place.
Yeah, my takeaway is that this is not what the original place looked like. There may be some resemblance to it. that it has changed over time.
Right. I mean, obviously it has, because these buildings could not have existed in the 1500s.
Right. And part of that is, like I said, I think the reason why some of this looks unfinished and why we see, glimmers of a hotel when there's not actually a motel, we see the sign but not the hotel, is because it's a subconscious creation. This realm was created by the subconscious memories of the people that have inhabited it. And it's not a real place. It's a pocket universe, like Dale was saying all the way in season 1. I think he might have been onto something there. So I think the updates probably just appear like at the beginning of cycles or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, that Victor probably wouldn't recognize the fact that things had changed that much from a kid from when he's an adult now.
Well,
I don't think.
I don't know if I would think anything has changed from when Victor was a kid, because nothing there looks more modern than it would have in the 70s, 80s.
Gotcha.
All of the new buildings look like they're from the 40s, 50s, 60s, mid-century. I'm curious to see if at the end of this cycle it morphs into a totally different atmosphere, environment.
Yeah, it would be interesting, but I don't know that we're going to see another cycle, because hopefully we're going to win this time.
Yeah, but even if we win, what happens?
Right. Well, I think maybe the entire realm just poops, goes out of existence.
You mentioned the motel.
Yes.
Where I want to bring up one thing. So there was an AMA on Reddit.
I had heard about it.
Between John and Jeff.
Yep.
John and Jeff did an AMA. And one of the things somebody asked was, what happened to the motel? And their response was, well, the better question is, did the motel ever exist?
There you go.
Which I'm pretty sure without explicitly saying it, they're saying there never was a motel.
Right.
Which is what I've always believed. I don't think the motel disappeared. Yes. I think it was never here.
I think that fits perfectly in with my, the theories that I've had on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
But as far as older buildings, we do know some of the buildings are much older. Mm-hmm. Obviously the settlement's older and was there a long, long time ago. That's possibly the original settlement where people lived when the sacrifices were happening. Or, at some point in that far, far past. The church is obviously a much older building. The lighthouse is obviously a much older building. We've got all these stone ruins, right, that are remnants of much older buildings that existed at one point in time.
So he also says, glad we got an extra long episode to cover the finale. It means there's more time for all the thoughts and witty banter that we all enjoy. I do have a lot to say, so I apologize for the wall of text that's about to occur. I would expect nothing less. In fact, I would be very disappointed if I didn't see walls and walls of text. But all right.
Because it lets us do this video.
Right, exactly. Number 1, my Christie comment was just an excuse to do some wordplay. Plum out of other clothes, best overall fit, but like my last attempt seems to have been a bit too subtle. Well, I'll keep trying with a little smiley face.
Yeah, I think I'm starting to understand Gerard's humor better.
I mean, Gerard, I got it last time. Trust me, I did. I was just not really...
You weren't, living it up.
I wasn't able to sell it quite like maybe you wanted me to do so. But, yeah, I did understand what you were doing there. Number 2, the idea of the monsters and the MIY enjoying playing the game and not really wanting to win straight out, as it were, is actually explored interestingly in a similar concept in Terry Gilliam's The Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus, a movie I highly recommend. Yeah, I think that was the last movie for Heath Ledger. He died during the filmmaking, and they basically had to... They continued filming with different actors playing the role in different time periods or something along those lines. It's definitely a movie I wanted to check out just for that little tidbit, but yeah. It features the story of the titular Dr. Parnassus, and sorry if I'm not pronouncing that right.
Show me. I think you actually probably are pretty close.
Okay.
Parnassus?
All right. Who makes bets with the devil, who for his part very much enjoys the games they play and is reluctant to actually win them. It's notable for being Heath Ledger's last movie and having Johnny Depp, Jude Law, and Colin Farrell all fill in for Heath Ledger's role after he passed away during filming, which is what I just said. I guess I didn't read this comment all the way, but it raises a lot of concepts we're seeing in terms of battle between good and evil and what defines a person's nature, reincarnation, etc. So again, highly recommend it if you've never seen it. Maybe we should cover it
Well, I've never heard of it, so
maybe we should watch it and then decide to cover it.
Yeah, we gotta stop deciding to cover things we've never watched. That's gotten us in trouble a few times.
It has, but I mean, one of those instances was Kids versus Aliens, which I don't regret doing.
Right.
I do very much enjoy ripping that movie to shreds. But...
And we're getting to meet more and more people that were involved in it.
Right. Yeah. Number 3. I came to the same conclusion about Golem after seeing this episode, but if you'll pardon the pun, it's a bit muddy in terms of being a metaphor to me. Fatima is only at best a reluctant protector, at least up to this point, and she's only really been proactive at the end of this episode, whereas previously she acted out of fear successfully to save Kenny and unsuccessfully in the case of Marielle. Prior to that, hasn't done much at all, understandably so given what happened to her. The whole Golem thing is a giant metaphor thing, but he's also a little shaky on that. I actually don't love it at all myself, but...
Yeah, I feel like it's going to be a glaring plot hole if we never mention the Golem again.
And if I'm right, we're never going to. And again, I would not be happy to be right in that case. But, alright. Though I suppose the Golem standing around doing nothing helpful and just taking up screen time could also apply to Fatima in the eyes of some fans, though not me. I think the actress has been doing a hell of a job with what she's been given, especially in the emotional reactions. Any thoughts on that?
I agree.
Okay.
Yeah.
Number 4, with regards to the Polaroid, I've seen some people suggest that the girl to the right of Sophia, who we only see in profile, is Julie Story walking. I think we did discuss that. And
I know it was definitely something on my radar. I don't know if we actually got to that when we were having the conversation about the Polaroid.
Okay, maybe we did.
I don't think that looks anything like Hannah Jeremy. I do not think that's Julie.
Right.
That's what I have to say about it.
I couldn't tell for sure given we only see a profile shot in the Polaroid, but it's something to consider. It didn't occur to me to wonder until you brought up all the various ideas people have been having about it. If any of the people in the Polaroid are Jade or Tabitha. We know from the Civil War soldier that race isn't a factor in reincarnation.
That I do have an opinion about.
And young Tabitha by the Red Rock suggests they could arrive at any ages. So as far as we know, anything in the Polaroid, even Sophia, could be an earlier Jade or Tabitha. Your thoughts?
I'm going to say no.
No?
Unless there's time travel involved. Because, and I've been dating that Polaroid picture. I know I've said several times late 60s, early 70s. I actually have an adjustment to that. Because I got to thinking, when did Polaroid switch to that format? The square with the white base. Now, Polaroids have existed since like the late 40s. As a company and as instant photos. But they looked very different.
I remember that style having occurred in the 80s.
Yeah, so I looked it up. And I got an answer. The first camera that gave us that particular format of a Polaroid photo, which is what we think of when we say Polaroid. Again, Polaroid existed much earlier than this, but they were different. They were rectangular. They had a little triangle on the end. It was a whole different process of how they made them. This particular, what we think of as a classic Polaroid, started in 1972.
Okay.
So I was wrong saying it could be late 60s. Unless the camera itself time traveled. That dates us to early 70s.
Gotcha.
If Victor arrived somewhere between 78 and 81, that gives us still 6-7 years this could have happened prior to when they came. Now here's the thing. If this is early 70s... Miranda and Christopher are already alive.
Okay.
Very much so.
Gotcha.
That this couldn't be a prior iteration of them.
Okay.
Unless there's some super timey-wimey stuff going on. Which I don't think is impossible, but I don't think that's what we're doing.
Okay.
And I think I've talked about this before. But see, I get confused what we've actually talked about on mic and what we've talked about in private and what I'm just talking about with people online. But... we knew that Henry's 30th birthday happened right before Miranda started seeing from stuff. So even if she's a couple years younger than him, which she could be, we got to assume she's at least in her late 20s, right?
Fair.
Somewhere between late 20s to early 30s.
Okay.
And if that's the late 70s, that means she was born, what does that mean?
If she was in her 20s, that would be like 50s that she was born.
50, 60, 70... 78, She was born in, like, around 1950.
Wow. Okay.
Okay. And Christopher is older than her.
Right.
Which is, again, something I need explained.
Right.
I need that explained. He's, I feel, at least a decade, maybe 2, older than Miranda.
Uh-huh.
I feel like he was at least 40, possibly 50s, even 60, maybe.
Right.
It's so hard to tell what age people are.
It is.
But he, for 100%, was older than Miranda.
Uh-huh.
You cannot tell me those two characters are supposed to be the same age. You cannot tell me that. So he would have been born even earlier than 1950, in the 30s even, maybe.
Okay.
No, I don't think this could have been a prior iteration of them around 1972. That doesn't make any sense.
Okay.
Because those people already exist.
Yes. Gotcha. All right. So number 5, I find it amusing in a meta sort of way that the description for the episode mentions things will never be the same when a large part of the story of the show is that things are always the same. Things and roles repeat, happen in cycles. Just amusing for those specific words we use on a show with that specific sort of story. Number 6, I'm going to have to disagree with Stacie on the MIY being the cause of the sudden night shift. Sophia at the time was in the diner dealing with Elgin. Their subsequent conversations to me suggest that Sophia recognized the night shift not as something she actively did, but as a consequence of things coming to an end, and seemed surprised about the sun coming back when it did. I think it's more likely Sophia knew something bad would happen when the bones were removed, as further hinted by his conversation with Tabitha in his MIY form earlier, but the actual cause of the night shift was some other force or consequences of one of the various magics in the town, or maybe even some sort of built-in sacrifice ritual failsafe, not actually the MIY. I do agree, though, that the earthquake was a reactionary countermove to aid Jade and Tabitha, though indirectly at the cost of Muriel's life, given that they are directly saved from a given danger after both instances of the quakes. I personally don't think it was the boy in white that caused them, as we've never seen him take direct action like that or on that scale, but we lack any other sources for now.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't saying for sure I think that Sophia caused it. That was just a theory. But it does feel like those are opposing forces.
Right.
That caused the sun to go down and the earthquake.
Well, maybe
different sides of the game.
Maybe taking the tree down itself was what caused it to go from day to night.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not.
But
yeah, I don't know if we're ever going to get an explanation for that.
Okay, here's another thing about it turning night. We know they've never dug up the bones before. Dug up the bones before. We know they've never pulled the tree before. These are new things.
Right.
But there is evidence that it's turned dark before, because Victor does have drawings of a dark sky with red lightning.
Oh, okay.
There's evidence that happened when he was a kid, because it's in his drawings. Which I don't know if that makes any sense.
Right.
But that exists.
Right. Interesting. All right. So, 7. I wonder what the purpose of that small barred room that Tabitha and Jade end up in actually was. The monsters haven't really been shown to take prisoners or even leftovers. Did they maybe keep the kids in there before sacrificing them, as Tabitha's vision in the tunnels may have suggested? I can't think of any other reason that space and barred window would exist. Yeah, I think that's probably it.
I mean, that's what I always assumed. Yep. In season 2, when Tabitha and Victor were in the tunnels, we saw the kid, hanging out of those bars. I always assumed they were imprisoned in these little rooms.
Right, before they were sacrificed. That would make sense.
And you know what? The one thing that really doesn't settle with me for, this whole lore that we're building is the whole line, they were born in the dark. Yes. And they were sacrificed in the dark.
People do keep bringing that up. And I don't know how that fits in exactly.
That's the one thing that really confuses me, is what do you mean they were born in the dark?
Right.
Were these children born in the tunnels for the explicit purpose of sacrificing? That's the part that I'm just really not understanding. Were these never just normal kids living in the settlement?
Right. Yeah, I'm not really clear on that.
But I definitely have always been under the impression that they were kept in these little cages.
All right. So number 8, I wondered why Smiley was going to go into the clinic in the first place. Did he know the talisman had fallen off and he could get it? Was it because he could sense Fatima there and was looking to talk to or confront or even kill Fatima over her brief control of him back when he was about to kill Kenny? The fact that he leaves without doing anything of that sort was sort of confusing to me. Unless he didn't leave of his own free will, and his interesting line was more about him being forced to leave by Fatima's roar. Mom is grounding me or sending me back to my room. Muriel's death was only because she was in the way and tried to go Hotel California on Smiley, but like the song says, she could stab him and her steely knife, but it just won't kill the beast. My first thought after her death was, oh no, now Stacie won't get her 3 captured people meeting she wants, and that's sad. So
I think we're still going to get it, because I'm pretty sure we're going to see her chained up in the ruins.
So I do think about this podcast while watching the show, and I very much appreciate that, Gerard. Yeah, I kind of thought that Smiley was headed there. One, because he knows where Fatima is, and he kind of senses her presence, but also because he kind of sensed the fact that the talisman was not protecting the place any longer.
Right.
That was my feeling.
I mean, why do they ever head anywhere, right? They were heading out during the day because they could.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. Also, maybe he's leaving because he knows it's going to turn light again very soon, and he's on a short time schedule here.
Probably.
Because we got the indication that they don't want to get caught in the light.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, maybe that could be an explanation for that. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Did he have some other agenda other than just getting in a place like they always try to get in places?
Yeah, I don't know. But,
was he coming specifically to kill Mariel because we're done with her?
I mean, maybe this was her time to die, like in the story. I mean, obviously it was for the purposes of the television show, but in the in-universe reason, perhaps this is when Mariel was supposed to die. This was her time,
right?
As I've speculated before.
And that reminded me of something else I wanted to comment on from something that you said earlier that I think was also one of Gerard's comments about Smiley being on the bus in season 2.
We had commented back then that it seemed like it was, remembering him from a time that he was human, perhaps. But
yeah, so that's what I wanted to circle back to. I was just thinking about that. Perhaps Smiley isn't one of the original parents.
That's also a question.
And he's one of the converts, like Fatima, which would mean it's possible he was, say, a bus driver or something like that, which was something, that came of question in season 2 when that scene happened. And then we were like, well, no, never mind. If he's from the 1500s, he's never drove a bus before. But maybe he's from the 30s or 60s.
It's quite possible. We don't actually know who's an original monster and who's not.
Right. And if he's one of the more recent cycle converts, because maybe it isn't just from birthing monsters. Because that's the only way to explain why we have so many males, right? Is there must be another way to do it?
Yes.
Maybe he is a more recent one to begin with. Mm-hmm. And maybe that was some core memory of his as a human.
Yeah, perhaps.
But if he's been around for hundreds of years, no.
Right.
So.
I guess if he had, was not an original monster, like you were just saying, then yes, it would probably be a memory of him being human. Otherwise, it would just be his interest in human things, something he never actually saw. But yeah, moving on. 9, with the death of Elgin, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, that leaves us only Randall and Bacta, and a few unnamed extras from the bus group left. Given the rest of the bus group's fates, I have to wonder what their purpose in Fromville was. Perhaps just to be cannon fodder, honestly.
That is accurate. We had 5 main cast members join from the bus, and 3 of them are gone now.
Right.
So yes, we had
Tilly,
who people are convinced was the man in yellow or some shit. I don't.
Yeah, I don't necessarily disagree that that's a possibility. Honestly,
Tilly's story did feel like there should have been more to it than we got.
Yes,
but also I don't necessarily feel compelled that they're definitely going back to her either.
Right.
She's kind of a wild card for me as far as what to talk about Tilly. I don't know. Then we had Elgin, of course, who we just lost. Who, by the way, is in the table read picture.
Okay.
Now,
I can see why that's the case.
There's no doubt that we would see Nathan Simmons again because we're going to see his corpse at some point.
Yeah,
they have to discover him. We have to figure out what the heck what the heck Clara did with him.
Yeah, I'm assuming that Sophia was going to use Nathan's form, or not Nathan, Elgin's form, to confuse the townspeople even further. And the reason I think that is mainly because why else would you get rid of the body in the first place? She instructs Claire to get rid of the body. Why bother if you're not?
We don't know what she did with it though, and how far could she really have moved that body? He's a big man.
Yes.
But people were saying the fact that he's at the table read is proof that Sophia's going to transform into him. Mm-hmm. Well, I definitely think that's possible and maybe even plausible. I don't think this is proof of it.
Right.
Because we knew we're going to see his body again either way at some point.
Right. But, I mean, if it's just his body, he doesn't need to be at a table read.
I don't know. Maybe he's just hanging out. I mean, she's probably going to become him. But we don't, have a guarantee that that's what they're doing.
Right.
There's never a guarantee with this show.
Was the entire bus bought in just to catch Elgin, that he would be tricked by the kimono woman into helping him bring back Smiley? That would be some really long-term planning, given Smiley hadn't been killed at that point. None of the other bus people, with the exception of Randall and Marielle, who were used during the cicada ballerina mess, seem to have done anything of note or importance other than get killed, Rip Tilly, or die or exist in the background.
Well, I again do not think we're done with the three, even though Marielle's dead. I really think that's going to be an important thing that still comes up. In which case, Marielle and Randall may have been chosen to be important for that from the beginning. And then there's also the fact that, well, maybe we just needed to bring Marielle here to affect Christy,
and Kenny for that matter.
Right.
Yeah, and I keep seeing those memes of Kenny doing that folded hand thing, oh, she's single now. But anyway, too soon, guys. Soon.
It is too soon, but also I wouldn't hate it.
Yeah, I mean, Kenny's too good of a guy for that. To just instantly jump in on there.
No, but this would be a great time for him to be a shoulder to cry on.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. To say nothing of the fact that Elgin was supposedly having prophetic visions or dreams just before reaching town, which also seemed to have amounted to nothing, so I'm equally confused on that point.
Yeah, his dream was about water.
Yes. Which,
again, Lake of Tears still seems like it's going to be important, even though we have no idea how or why or where.
Right.
That theme still exists. I think there's more to his dreams still that hopefully will
get some insight on.
Will be explained of what the heck that was about, even if we don't have him around anymore to explain it to us. You know what I mean?
Right.
Also, I want to point out one more bus thing was Bacta, who's a very forgettable character. She hasn't done much. They haven't given her a lot to work with. I feel like she could become more important because remember, she's the one who knew the rhyme.
Yes.
I was just about to start saying the Freddy Krueger rhyme. 1, 2, they're coming for you. That's not it. Here they come. They come for 3.
It's our opening theme.
It is, but that doesn't mean I hear it all the time.
I mean, other than to listen to Dave and Stacie, which you should absolutely be doing.
She knew that. She said her grandmother taught her that rhyme.
Yep.
So that has to mean something.
Yes.
So is her character going to have some more significant role in the future? I don't know.
Or maybe she just dies
or
in 501.
Or is she not going to be it? She shouldn't be in episodes 1 and 2, given if we follow the same patterns as season 3 and 4.
Right, yeah.
So I don't know, but there has to be some significance to she knew the rhyme. There has to be, right?
Right, you would figure. And I still never got a clear answer on what Elgin knew about his help the baby be delivered and everyone goes home plan. Episode 1 of the season, he still thought it was going to happen. The rest of the season, he stops mentioning it. When did he realize he'd been tricked? Or did he not realize and died believing everything after the birth was a test by God and they were all going home because of what he did, just not immediately? I got the impression that Elgin realized he'd been duped. But we never discovered exactly the moment.
We didn't spend a lot of time with him this season, to be honest.
No. Yeah. Number 10, not to skip ahead episode-wise. I mean, it doesn't really matter, Gerard. You can make your comments whenever you want. But since Dave brought it up at this point, I will as well. I actually agree with his point about seeing Sophia take the talismans too often, but I will disagree in as much as I think we did need to see how some specific ones were taken, if only for the logic of it. Colony House is constantly filled with people, so while it logically must have been Clara that took it, there's too many constant people for it to have been taken easily, or at the least it would have been noticed rather immediately that it was missing, especially given recent events, so I would like to have seen that one. Secondarily, did Clara take the one on the basement door? Does she even know about that one? Did Clara go to every single non-Colony House home and get one of those? Seems like a big ask that every single one of those houses would be empty. Finally, given what we see in this episode, Clara and Sophia couldn't have gotten every talisman. There should still be one in the hospital that Mariel and Fatima had, given the place was occupied the entire time. And I don't think Boyd or any of the others that were there would have left it laying around. And then there's the one in the underground chamber. Yes, I brought that one up. The one in the tunnels should still be there. Inside the Clara tarp, as we see it fall into the tarp when the cowboy monster knocks the tarp away. So that's at least 2. Though, as they seem to have more talismans than they should, given recent counts, maybe there's more.
Yeah, and this, I think, is reason why it's two extremes, right? You're just like, well, they showed us too much. I think maybe they didn't show enough.
Right.
Based on the fandom, because I've seen people come up with some ridiculous theories about, like, oh, there's still one in Victor's truck. There was never one in Victor's truck. That's been said multiple times. He doesn't have a talisman in the truck. Anyways, people are assuming because we didn't see this one or that one or this one getting taken that they still exist. We don't know if they got them all or not. I feel like we're not supposed to know if they got them all or not, because I think it's obviously going to be a plot point of what happens when night falls.
Yes.
Of do we have any talisman, and how do we stay alive through the first night.
Right. Yeah.
Without anybody knowing their talisman's gone until it's already nighttime.
Right.
As far as those specific points, we don't know if they got the one on the basement.
Mm-hmm.
I have to figure that Sophia knew about it, even if Clara didn't.
Yes.
And would have specifically told her to get that one.
Right.
I feel like that one probably was gotten. As far as the one in the clinic, I've seen a lot of people say that. Like, oh, there's still one in the clinic. I don't see how they would have not gotten the one in the clinic. Because, yes, last time we saw it, it was not hung up. But I would assume that they hung it up before they left the clinic. And even if they didn't, Sophia would be able to find it.
Sure. His point there was that there were people always there. So how did she get
Except
it?
Except there weren't.
Okay.
Because everybody left the clinic and went to the station.
Okay.
Remember, we saw, it was Ellis and Fatima were the last people we saw at the clinic. They went to the station, didn't they? Or they went with Boyd. They all left. They all went somewhere at some point.
Christy and Randall went with the body of Mariel.
Right.
Boyd left.
And then
Fatima and Ellis
ended up going with Boyd.
Right.
So there wouldn't at that point have been anyone left. And that's when they were collecting them.
Mm.
Because Boyd went to the station. And then that's when Sarah and Kenny and Costa were there.
So actually,
but then Boyd went to get Ellis and
Fatima.
Fatima, and the three of them left together.
At that point, they could have gotten the talisman.
There was nobody there at that point.
Right. Yeah.
As soon as Boyd took Ellis and Fatima to the caves.
Yeah. Sure.
I know at some point there shouldn't have been anybody there.
Right.
But yeah, I would assume they hung it back up.
Right.
Or if they didn't, it was still on the floor, and I think Sophia's wise enough to look for it and not just be like, oh, it's not hung up, I'll forget about it.
Right.
So even though we didn't see that one, I assume that she got that one.
Right. Number 11. During the Henry at the police station scene, all I can think of was, I was right. We see there's a huge open gap around where the car was crashed into the wall, meaning they didn't fix it, and the talisman that was hanging on the door was useless and shouldn't have been there. Vindication. Yeah, you probably have a point there.
I still want to see the scene. You know that creator that posts all these videos of I don't know who it is, but it's it's really, really good AI where it shows a scene and then it's this guy coming in and interfering and beating people up and shit. Have you seen those? You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
I want to see that.
Those are amusing. I
want to see that of the monsters pulling the car out of the hole and going in that way. That's what I want to see.
All right. Number 12. I think And like David with the Golem, I would like to be wrong about this. The point of Acosta's journey this season, from angry, bitter person who wanted to kill herself, was for that moment in that police station scene where she's the one who tells Boyd that they can't give up. The person who wanted to give up comes full circle and convinces the lead that they can't give up. I dislike that trope, and I hope that wasn't the point of her journey, but it seems right now like that was the point, to get her to that moment. Yeah, not really sure. Maybe we'll see more of Acosta and see more of her journey, exactly what the point of her journey is in season 5.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta realize she has come pretty far.
Yeah.
From, like, wanting to kill herself.
Yes.
To being, like, I'm actually being helpful, and I'm driving the getaway van, and I'm telling you to keep Patty quiet.
Right. So
she doesn't get us all killed.
Yes.
I feel like Acosta has to do something in season 5.
She went from extremely irritating to not accepting. You know, maybe she's in, like, the, how many steps of, acceptance are there for death?
Oh,
7, I think. 7, I think it is. And maybe she's moving along the steps of acceptance. Maybe.
I feel like she's becoming useful.
Yes.
And I'm hopeful that she will be useful in season 5.
13. In deference to Stacie's shirt question, I actually have multiple copies of the same shirt I wear all the time. Like 5 or 6 exact copies of the same shirt. I learned it from cartoons and sitcoms. If you wear the exact same outfit all the time, life is a bit easier, and that's one less choice you have to make in a day.
I'm just going to revert to a conversation happening elsewhere among these comments that I think all of our viewers are just a little weird. I don't think this is normal behavior.
I mean, hey, to each your own if you want to wear the exact same shirt.
Okay, I have definitely had garments that I own multiples of, but in different colors. Mm-hmm. Same cut and style, but different colors. I think it's weird that Boyd just has an endless supply of this same shirt, especially in this environment.
Well, apparently he has something in common with Gerard, so there's that. Number 14. I think the Ellis hatred, though I don't ascribe to it, is largely the same as yours and Stacie's issue with the Golem, or whatever. He's given a lot of screen time over the seasons and hasn't done anything significant of note to move the plot forward or answer any of the questions raised, and he sent Kenny to his likely death with the totem stunt rather than volunteering himself. Okay, to be fair, we don't know for a fact that that's exactly what happened. People are just assuming that's what happened.
Well, the fact that they didn't show us something else leads that that's the most likely thing that happened, considering he's the one who pulled Kenny out of the bar and was like, I gotta talk to you.
Right, yes. I mean, yeah, I would like to think that that was an example of Kenny stepping up rather than Ellis just,
volunteering him.
Right, yeah. But again, that might be the case. So it seems like wasted screen time. When was Ellis ever the answer to a problem or the reason something turned out well? Instead, his scenes tend to drag out personal or emotional dramas when that is time that can be spent on other, more important things. Additionally, and again, no fault to the actor can come off self-important and egotistical despite not having earned it, which people tend to dislike in a character. I don't think that view is true, and it's somewhat unfair, but I think that's the general idea of it all anyway. All right, so I'm going to actually propose an idea here.
Okay, what you got?
I think the dislike of Ellis might actually come down to the actor himself. I think, we pointed out that Ricky Hay and Courtine Moore are the cool kids, right? We brought that up when we watched some of the behind-the-scenes stuff. And I think maybe some people, that actually comes off in the character himself. And some people are reminded of the cool guy that they didn't necessarily like when they were kids because they were made fun of by the cool guy. And maybe there's a dislike of his character because of that, because they pick up on that. They get reminded of people that they did not like in high school.
Okay.
It could have some element of that.
Well, I feel like even if you look at how we were introduced to the character of Ellis, like, that's how we were introduced to him. As, like, he wasn't, like, part of the group,
Right. Yeah.
Like, he was, like, living in Colony House. He didn't want to talk to his dad. And he was just like, cool, I don't want to go to the funeral. He was, like, a little standoffish, right? Which I think kind of goes in line with what you're talking about. That we're seeing from the character. And that was our first impression of him.
Right.
Now, since then, Colony House and the town have melded to become one thing. They no longer have a separation, but because Ellis was the character who we saw that divide with the strongest, other than like leadership, maybe that's part of it too, is he was just kind of like, he kept himself an outsider, not a contributor to the group.
Yeah, makes sense. Maybe that's it. Maybe they just like, he's the pretty boy, and that's all that they really represented as him as a character. I mean, he did get stabbed, and that was crucial.
He did get stabbed.
That was crucial to the plot at one point.
Well, I want to talk about that. Should I interrupt your comments
to
talk about that now since it came up?
Yeah.
So this came up during our interview with the Saunders.
Yes.
But I want to bring it up here in case anybody hasn't watched that interview. But go watch it. It's cool. One thing I talked about there, which I think Elizabeth and Cliff were both like, oh, I didn't think about that. They were a little impressed, I think. And that's the fact that if you really look at it, the fact that Dale stabbed Ellis was the catalyst for everything that happened with Smiley and Fatima. Fatima would not be where she is right now if not for the fact that Dale stabbed Ellis.
I mean, technically both are true.
Which in context of what I was, teasing him about is like, oh, maybe Dale was working for Man in Yellow, which I do think is very possible. Because Dale stabbed Ellis. So they brought Ellis to the clinic. Boyd needed to do a blood transfusion to save Ellis's life, but he couldn't because he had the worms. So that's when he made the plan to give the worms to Smiley so that he could safely give Ellis his blood. Giving the worms to Smiley is what killed Smiley, and in facto made it necessary for Smiley to be reborn, which leads to everything that happened with Fatima.
Yes. Up into including her turning into a monster.
Correct. So all of that started with Dale not intentionally, I put up air quotes as I said that, stabbing Ellis.
Yeah, it's funny because I've watched that scene 1,000 times of him stabbing Ellis, which makes me sound psychotic, but it looks like he thrusts intentionally into
there's
Ellis.
two sides of it.
Yes.
One is, well, yeah, he did it intentionally. Dale did.
Right.
I mean, Cliff did it intentionally because it's part of the script. He has to do it.
Right.
So how much of that is that's just what's happening because that's what has to happen, and how much of it is that was Dale's intent?
Right.
Right?
Yeah, it's really hard to judge intent there, but it looks intentional watching it because I don't know, it does not look accidental.
So let's propose for a second.
Yeah.
Dale was working with Man in Yellow.
Yeah.
Not that Dale was Man in Yellow, but like has some agreement like Clara does.
Mm-hmm.
So let's pretend Dale is working with Man in Yellow and is told, or even if not working directly, maybe just voices telling him like Sarah was being controlled or Eldon's being controlled in some de facto way. I keep saying de facto, and I know I'm not even using the word right. I don't know why that word keeps coming out of my mouth.
It makes you sound smart, you know?
I don't think it does, because I'm not using it correctly. One way or another, let's presume that Dale was doing this because he was told to. He's told, you need to stab Ellis. And he does.
Okay.
Intentionally, because either because he's working with the Man in Yellow or voices or something is telling him to.
Okay.
So he does it as a catalyst
For
to put all of this into place.
Interesting.
Because the forces knew that's what was going to happen once Ellis was stabbed.
And his reward was getting stuck in a pool.
He didn't get a reward, no. I mean, but I feel like that's kind of the point, is you're not going to get the things that are promised to you.
I mean, that's been demonstrated over and over.
To go even a step further, let's remember in 404, I think it was, when Sophia is standing there waiting to see if, Sarah does the whole water test.
Yes.
And she's standing in the pool, and she's about to, throw herself in the pool and pretend like the forces are hurting her. She's staring at Dale.
Ah, yes.
She's standing at the pool staring at where Dale's body is.
Okay.
Could that be because Man in Yellow is thinking about Dale?
Maybe.
Because there was something going on there.
Okay.
And that means that we could see, Dale again in season 5 if they explain all this as being true.
I would love to see Cliff Saunders as Dale again.
Yeah.
Because, it's funny because he is very much not Dale. Talking to him, he doesn't come off like Dale at all. I mean, he did mention the humor, and he does have that humor, but it's not as biting, I would say. It's not as that level of sarcasm, for sure. But he definitely is the complete opposite of Dale.
Oh, yeah.
He seems like a very warm person. Mm-hmm. They both do. They're both very nice people. All right. So, do we have anything else to say about that?
No, and I don't even know what the comments were talking about. I just know you mentioned Dale, and
okay.
that went to that.
Okay, so number 15, I may be splitting hairs here, but I thought it was a bit of a stretch on Fatima's part to say she could sense the monsters when all we've seen her do, and specifically what she said she can do, is sense Smiley specifically. It would have been a much worse scene if things had gone as they'd shown, and she said, and it turned out she couldn't sense the rest of the monsters and didn't know they were coming because Smiley wasn't with them. She never makes any comment this season about being able to sense or feel or see through the eyes of any other monster other than Smiley.
Right.
Fair.
Which that was something that was in my notes for the episode. I don't know if any of that ended up getting verbalized or not, but yeah, when she was like, I can help, I can sense them, I was like, you can sense one of them.
Right. I think we did mildly talk about that.
Two ways that you could look at this. Either she was just, wanted to be there, wanted to help, and I could sense them was her overselling her helpfulness, and they were all lucky that Smiley was in that group.
Right.
So she knew they were coming. Or because she was so close to turning herself, by that point, maybe she could sense all of them.
So she had actually developed, her powers had developed beyond Smiley at that point.
I think it's possible.
Yes.
Because I feel like in those last moments, she knew.
Right, absolutely.
She knew exactly what was coming. She knew she wasn't getting out of those caves. It's possible she knew earlier than those last couple moments.
Gotcha. Okay. Number 16, I found it odd. Tabitha could tell the skull belonged to her daughter. I'm not a parent, but I don't think that's a normal skill parent to have.
Yeah, I didn't buy that either.
I don't want to think about this, but I don't think I would be able to identify my daughter by her skull. That's for sure.
Yeah, there's 7 skulls in that bag, and
yeah.
It's not only like, her daughter. It's her daughter from a dozen lifetimes ago.
Right.
Yeah, that was weird.
Maybe it was a vibe situation. She didn't seem to recognize the Vision's version of the child, so recognizing one specific skull out of 7 or 8 identical ones is odd or very lucky. Yeah, I'd say that's a fair point.
Unless they're trying to say, like, the bones were talking to her.
I mean, maybe there's some spirit left in the bones that she could somehow sense it.
Yeah.
Yeah. 17, my interpretation of the boy in white and Sophia scene as it relates to the bottle tree is that the removal of the bottle tree isn't about losing a way home. Since we saw in season 1 the lighthouse could seemingly be reached on foot, it's just a heck of a walk, but that they lost the bottles with the dates that led to the song that eventually led to them getting their memories back. Now they have no way to regain their memories when things start over. So it's back to blind playthrough for them, as it were. Maybe. Yeah,
now, I have a couple of theories about the importance of the tree. Specifically with, them saying, well, the tree's gone now. Of course, there was that whole, this is how we got the memories back thing. But they could set up a different way. If they know they're going to die, they could absolutely set up a different way so that they would know again next time. Mm-hmm. Which they obviously set the tree up at some point. I don't know, why weren't they more direct with themselves, by the way? If it was previous versions of these characters that did this, why were they so cryptic about it?
Right. Yeah.
Anyways, the tree.
Write a more useful clue.
Yeah, write a letter. Dear future me, you are a reincarnation. Mm-hmm. I know I'm about to die. Here's some helpful information that I've gathered.
I mean,
good luck.
Right along, I've been saying that they should have been writing some of this down on paper somewhere.
Maybe they will now that they think they might lose again.
Right.
Okay, so the tree. We were told this tree is special because it always brings you to the lighthouse. except it doesn't. But maybe it always brings them to the lighthouse. And I think I said this in the finale, that maybe what they were meant to do was bring the bones to the lighthouse.
Mm-hmm.
And the tree was a shortcut to the lighthouse. So that's why it's a loss of an asset, because now we have to manually bring the bones to the lighthouse, which will probably be quite a feat.
Yes.
Especially since they don't know where the lighthouse is. We know it's possible to get there.
Right.
But they don't know how to get there. And now they don't have talisman.
Right.
So that sounds like a quite an adventure.
Maybe that's going to be season 5, is trying to get to the lighthouse.
So possibly what they're supposed to do is bring the bones to the lighthouse, and possibly that's what Boy in White was telling Christopher. Wasn't just you need to go through the tree, but maybe he was literally telling Christopher you need to get the bones and you need to go through the tree. But Victor didn't hear the whole conversation, or doesn't remember the whole conversation.
Right.
Because remember, Boy in White said that didn't work, so I'm not telling you all nothing. Because when I told Christopher, it broke everything.
Maybe that's why the man in yellow entity wanted Victor to die, why they were setting Henry up to kill him, is because so that Victor does not get the rest of that memory.
Or Jade could get the memory.
Right. Yeah, fair. Yeah.
Either one of them could remember more of that conversation.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's possible. Is the answer is bringing the bones to the lighthouse, because we did have this concept at one point that you go to the lighthouse to save the children.
Yeah.
But maybe the missing bit was you need to bring the children with you to the lighthouse.
Right.
Now, the other side of this coin is the Lake of Tears. We keep being told about the Lake of Tears. We still haven't found the Lake of Tears.
Yes.
The lake at the settlement, we were pretty much told isn't the Lake of Tears because it didn't save the bird. And then we gave up on Lake of Tears.
Right.
I still think the Lake of Tears is going to come back into this. Is the Lake of Tears at the lighthouse?
I mean, they were bringing up the Lake of Tears in the first episode.
Right.
And they were discussing the Lake of Tears in the first season, at least a couple of episodes after that.
Right,
so.
and we've been told
Yes.
over and over, and again in that AMA, that the answers are in the first episode.
Right.
So, and specifically, I have this quote, now that I'm on this subject, which I know we're jumping all the frick over the place, but I mean, that's what we're here for today.
That's what we're going to do in the first place.
If you look back at the first episode, which is what John and Jeff again told us to do in this recent AMA. They said it like 2 years ago, but now they said it again. First episode, we have that whole sequence in the RV where Julie takes over the puppetry of Norman and kills Norman, right? And Ethan's like, hey, Julie killed Norman. and then Tabitha's
right.
like, well, that's good news because monsters aren't real. So here's what happened I just recently rewatched that scene because someone posted it. And I'm like, wow, it feels blatantly obvious. The story that Julie tells, if you listen to that story specifically, the monsters killed Norman. And then Ethan says the secret fairies have to bring him to the Lake of Tears to save him.
Okay.
So the monsters killed Norman. Well, in our story, the monsters are the parents.
Yes.
Who killed their children.
Yes.
The bones are Norman.
Yes.
In this comparison.
Okay.
And we need to bring Norman, or the kids that were killed by the monsters, to the Lake of Tears.
Wow. Okay.
So if you're looking at this comparison, the answer is bringing the bones to the Lake of Tears. Which we don't know where that is. But maybe it's at the lighthouse.
Maybe.
Maybe you need to bring the bones to the lighthouse, and then the Lake of Tears will appear. And maybe that's your way home, because maybe that's where Boyd's boat is on the Lake of Tears.
Which people have been joking about having to leave on Boyd's boat since the
I'm not joking about it. I think his boat is here somewhere. And it makes sense that it's on the Lake of Tears.
Well, that would be another Lost comparison.
It 100% would.
Yes.
And we joked about that way back at the beginning of
right.
season 2 when Boyd is stuck in the chimney thing, the chimney-shaped well. And he's seeing Ellis saying, Dad, let's go out on the boat, which is very much, and I think we even made a visual at that point, comparing it to Michael and Walt.
Right, yes.
Escaping Lost on a boat.
Yes. Yep. Okay. Number 17. Actually, I already did that. Okay. Number 18. And this is his final point here. I have a lot of unresolved plot thread and unanswered questions I look forward to seeing finished in season 5. Everything you two said about, but also Martin's whole deal. The truth behind the Father Khatri, Tom, and Jim's ghost. The point of Tabitha's trip back to the real world. Why all the background characters who never really do much get pulled into Frumville. Was it on purpose, or was it wrong place, wrong time situation? Stacie previously suggested everything about Boyd's wife haunting Boyd, the colony house basement door situation. Yeah, that is something I meant to bring up in the finale. We made this whole big deal in episode 6 about finding this door, and then it never became relevant to the plot in season 4. It was not the way into the tunnels. It was not anything. So are we going to get back to that?
I don't think we are.
So that was just nothing. It was just, a door.
The point of the door, at least so far,
yes,
was to make Boyd believe the things that Jade saw in his trip were true. Because this door exists.
All right, but that's it?
So here's the thing.
Is that
People
good enough
were
for
saying,
you?
why didn't they use it to, go in and escape the tunnels? Here's why they didn't do that. That door is a mile from the chamber.
Yes.
Would you not rather walk that mile outside where you're safe?
Right.
Because we didn't know we weren't going to have, darkness in the day or whatever. And enter the caves where we normally enter the caves, which is presumably pretty close to the sacrificial chamber.
Mm-hmm.
Or do you want to be in this one hallway for a mile with monsters chasing you?
I mean, that sounds fun.
That seems like the least advantageous exit from the tunnel system is to go through a mile-long underground tunnel.
So that door is never going to come to anything other than
I mean,
that.
It might.
Right.
But I understand why it didn't in this plan.
Gotcha. Yeah, let's see, where am I?
Yeah, was that even what he was saying about the door?
The teen monster who seemed to know Julie in episode 1 and is too young to be able to sacrifice a kid and too male to have birthed the monster. It could still be a situation where, for whatever reason, that monster was like a person who got pulled in and became a monster. We don't know for a fact that you only have to give birth to some, a monster in order to become a monster.
I mean, we don't even know for sure that other people have.
Fair enough.
That's just a logical assumption at this point.
Right. That's mainly my speculation at this point.
But
yeah,
if we're saying there were only a dozen original monsters, there has to be a way for men to turn to.
Right.
Otherwise, we would only have 6 males, and we have more than that.
Right. The giant spider in the forest that may have dragged Boyd and Sarah's tent around, and many, many more, but I don't want to make this post longer than it already is, so I won't list more. I will say my big fear, and the thing I am worried will make the show end up just has great scenes and moments, but is overall just okay, is I don't want to see the writers or producers or whatever associated with the show pull out the same excuse I've seen so many story-driven shows, including and especially Lost, pull out, we just didn't have time to answer all the questions, so we answered the ones we felt were important, and left the rest up for fan debate. I think it's quite possible that's going to be the case, but...
They're not going to use that excuse, because we know that this is their story. Mm-hmm. They're not getting canceled.
Yes.
They, from day one,
yeah, have
said 5 seasons.
Right.
They have the canvas.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever story they're telling is the story they chose to tell.
Right.
They cannot claim, we were canceled and we had to wrap it up quickly.
Yes.
This is it. They're proving themselves to us with this season, because they're giving us exactly what they have always chosen to give us. There's been no outside influence as far as, you only have 6 episodes or whatever.
Right.
They were given what they wanted, which was 5 seasons of 10 episodes. This was this was them.
Right.
So if it flops, they can't blame anybody.
Right. And he finishes up that with, you decide how long you need to tell your story. You decide what scenes to show. You decide what questions to raise. You decide what mysteries to create. Please don't end it with a half-ass excuse about running out of time. I don't think they will. But
I don't think that what they give us is going to satisfy the questions everybody has.
And again,
I hope it satisfies our questions.
Right. Again, I think part of that will come down to they raised questions they did not intend to do in the first place.
You mentioned the spider. He mentioned the spiders in there.
Yeah.
During that AMA, they did confirm that we're getting back to the spiders in season 5.
Mm.
They said yes, that will be explained in season 5. They also said story walking is going to be further explained. They confirmed those things are happening in season 5. Spiders and story walking are coming up.
Okay, and you would figure that both of those would come up at least.
I mean, the spiders I don't think was a given.
Story walking definitely.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, so that's the end of Gerard.
Yay, we got through one comment. How far are we?
We're more than an hour. Just viewer comments, but yeah, I suspect that.
I mean, that's what we're doing. That's what we're here for. There is no scene by scene after this. This is it today.
No. So, Adam, he's a new person to comment. He said...
Not my Adam.
Not your Adam.
Different Adam.
Yes. I suspect Clara had a change of heart and didn't collect all the talismans, but instead handed Sophia a bag of rocks. John from Spotify got in on this little conversation with him and said, "You see etchings on the falling rocks in the last scene. It could be possible that she left 1 or 2, but it appears that the majority definitely went through the faraway tree." And Adam, in reply to that, says, "I noticed that too, but they might be Sophia's. She seemed to collect the majority of them." If Clara were going to defy Sophia in this regard, she would not be able to get away with that for very long.
Right.
Because if they still had talismans that Clara intentionally did not collect, Sophia would eventually catch on to that. Also, if you're going to do that, then you then have to go and tell Boyd or someone that Sophia is Sophia. Because otherwise, you're just wasting time.
Yeah, if Clara was going to suddenly have a change of heart and realize, like, she's effed either way and do the right thing, I feel like it would have been more like, let me tell somebody.
Right.
Like, that would make sense anyway.
I mean, maybe holding on to some of the talismans makes sense as well, but you can't do that and not also go and tell someone.
Yeah.
Because either way, you're going to get caught out, and eventually Sophia is going to kill you.
I do think it's possible a talisman or 2 still exist.
Yeah.
I don't think at this point that I believe Clara made some
heroic gesture.
Exactly. I don't think so. I mean, it's possible. I've seen a lot of people talking about this, that they think she could have. And if she did...
Yes, this did come up quite a few times.
If she did do something and decide suddenly to, like make a good decision, I don't think it was with the talisman. If she did something, I would expect it to be something to do with Elgin.
Okay.
Where she was told to take care of the body. Sophia's like, I don't care, don't tell me. That would have been her opportunity to do something, to leave some kind of message.
Okay.
To make it so that he's found and Sophia's found out at the same time.
Gotcha. I mean, at this point, and my friend Laura, she also wants to see Clara redeem herself in some way, because otherwise, this kind of puts a stink on the character of Clara if she never redeems herself at this point.
Right.
And she kind of has to.
But if she already did do something, again, I would expect it to be something on the Elgin side of it, not on the talisman side. I mean, how cool would that be if she left his body somewhere with, like, that Polaroid in his hand? Like, did Sophia rip up the Polaroid, or was she so distracted with everything that she left it there?
I doubt she ripped up that Polaroid.
Like, where's the Polaroid?
Right. Yeah.
Could Clara have left the Polaroid in Elgin's hand to be discovered?
That'd be funny.
It would mean her death instantly.
Right.
But it would be a way of getting the message out there.
Right. All right. So John from Spotify, formerly of Spotify, who's now commenting on YouTube, says...
Well, his name is John from Spotify. Like, sorry, John.
Permanently?
That's your name now.
Right.
And I know he has, like, a totally different handle on YouTube, but you got a nickname here. Your name is John from Spotify, because we know a lot of Johns.
Yeah. The handle, by the way, is Mass Driver.
Yes, Mass Driver. Your name is John from Spotify.
Yeah. Go and
accept it.
Go and tell your friends. Your new name is John from Spotify. Okay.
It's literally, like, even in, like, my notes for our trivia planning. John from Spotify. That's his name.
Okay. Okay. Curiosity about events of previous cycles is what actually led me to finding Corn Productions in the first place. One of my search terms was something like from series war deep dive. Well, thank you for letting me know that, so I'll include that in our tags or something similar. in hopes of learning more history. But that part of the story isn't just hasn't been written or released as of yet. If they don't cover the past cycles in a lot of detail during season 5, I hope they would do a short comic run to give us some more background, similar to the way the 28 Days Later franchise did it. What do you think of that?
I feel like we could have an entire From universe.
We could.
I feel like they could do anything they want to do.
Yes.
John, Jack, and Jeff, I feel like if they went to MGM after the fact, it was like, okay, now let's do this. I feel like MGM would be like, cool, let's do it. Because this is MGM Plus's most successful series ever. They have publicly said that.
Yes.
So I think they're sad it's ending too.
Right, absolutely. Now,
I can see movies, I can see spin-offs, I can see novelizations.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the one thing I do feel a little leery of is they haven't given us merch yet.
Fair enough.
So I feel like novelizations or comics or anything physical might be a stretch.
Mm-hmm.
Based on the fact that they literally haven't sold t-shirts and talismans. All of this merch that you're seeing is coming from fans like us. By the way, check out our Firmly t-shirts on our Zazzle store if you want one. And lots of other cool Firmly merch. But there's no Firmly merch that's official. Nothing. MGM, they put out like the press stuff that they gave and Epic sent out in season 1, which we didn't get any, sadly, because we weren't associated with them yet in season 1. I want some of that stuff, by the way. They haven't sold anything.
Right.
And I'm surprised they haven't.
Yeah.
But I feel like maybe they're just not interested in doing that sort of agreement. I feel like we might get more likely to get a sequel series or a prequel series or a movie or some kind of thing. And I feel like there's so many ways they could go. Obviously, we have to watch season 5 first to see exactly where we land. But I could see them doing whole other stories.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm still holding out hope that we get some significant insight into previous cycles. At least the previous one, the exact one that preceded this one.
Yeah.
I'm hoping to see that.
But couldn't you see them doing,
absolutely.
A made-for-TV movie?
Sure.
The following year?
Yeah.
Of, deep diving into a particular cycle or, just one little aspect of the story?
I'm all for it.
There's so many things they could do. And again, I would need to see season 5 first to know exactly what we're already getting, to know what on top of that I'd like to get. But I feel like there's no end of what we could do with this universe if they chose to.
Absolutely. Latrice says, I personally don't think John is that weird for watching your podcast before seeing the episodes himself. John from Spotify again. I technically didn't watch almost any of the show myself until right before season 4, but had been following along with all of your From podcast episodes for years before that. And I do appreciate that. Yes, I do think that's an unusual way to watch a television show, but, to each his own. And
we're happy to provide that commentary for those who choose to get their From firsthand from us.
Yes. And then she says, though, and I think John appreciated the defense from Latrice here. And she says, though it was predictable, I'm glad that they turned Fatima into a monster, and since you guys and Gerard encouraged me about my theory making, I didn't decide to include that particular comment, but she was a little down on herself after watching the finale, thinking that she was crap at theorizing and all that.
You know what? Not all theories are going to come to fruition.
That's true. And, I think the thing here is with Latrice is that her theories are highly ambitious and creative and perhaps more ambitious than the show's creators were ever intending to go.
Has Latrice watched Dark?
I think she has. I think she's one of the ones that wants us to do it, and I have more to say about that in later comments. But yes, I'm pretty sure she has. Even though Fatima is a monster, I don't think she's the same as the others. When she screamed at Smiley in the clinic and he responded with interesting, it seemed like he was genuinely not expecting it. If he knew she was turning into a monster because he's seen many cycles of other people turning into one, why would he be surprised? He would expect to see this happening. I think he backed off because he knew he couldn't kill Fatima, and Muriel was already doomed. And I think even though Fatima's full transformation physically is complete by the end of this episode, I think she still will be herself and not have turned evil. And I'm looking forward to some heartbreaking scenes between her and Ellis, talking at night through a closed door and window, and rather than telling him to open the door, she will tell him not to stay safe. and will try to convince him that she has to be left behind when they leave because Ellis will want to take her with them, which will be even more proof for Ellis that she's herself, while everyone around him is saying that this is just a typical monster trick to get inside his head. All right, so I don't think that exact scene is going to take place because we don't have the talismans anymore, but there's definitely room for some dramatic material if we do not have her fully turn into a monster. Like, she's physically a monster, but if there's still some agency
I feel like there's room for us and Ellis to question.
Yes.
If she is, for them to have some kind of exchange, and for there to be the question, is that Fatima or is that manipulation?
Right.
And I think that would be really fun to explore.
Yes, absolutely.
Either way, I'm positive we're not done with Fatima.
I don't think so either. Of course not.
We're going to see her. I think it would be... I feel like it's unlikely that we're just going to see her in monster form and not have dialogue, because that would be a waste.
Right.
I don't know what I think it's definitely possible that she is different, that she's, going to gain, retain her humanity. I think that's possible. I don't know where I sit on thinking about this, but I definitely think it's something that's going to be explored one way or the other as we watch season 5. And Pega, by the way, was also in that table read.
Well, I mean, I expected her to be. I definitely expect her to be in the season.
Right.
But yeah. And I think there's a possibility that Fatima can be saved and turned back human by transferring whatever parasite or issue that made her a monster to the golem that she created and has a connection to. Maybe.
Do you think Pega's going to retain her main cast status and be in the opening credits?
That remains to be seen, because if she's a monster, they only make like 4 appearances a season, though I think the way this season is structured...
Right, like what's...
right, it could be very different next season where we see the monsters way more often.
You know what would be so cool? If Jamie gets main cast status.
That would be awesome.
I want to see that.
Yeah.
Let's give us Smiley every episode.
I think
please.
maybe they'll give him guest star status at the very least.
If they give him more than 5 lines in an episode, I think that's when they have to do guest star.
I think they might go that way with the monsters because we might get some more background information in the previous cycles.
I hope we do.
But
I think we might be dreaming a little bit here.
I also think that it's possible that if they set the bones free, that they set everyone free.
Right.
The monsters, everyone who got trapped.
The lost soul, the trapped souls
yes.
that Mariel was talking about.
So maybe Fatima gets to turn back into a human if they do whatever they can with the bones.
Maybe all of them do.
Right, maybe.
Except the original 12, because fuck them.
Right.
They killed their kids.
The show has done such a good job of dropping in symbolism and clues that only eagle-eyed fans will pick up on, that it's unintentionally made it seem like every little thing they do or don't do in the show is a clue to something greater. But even if From's final season doesn't answer a lot of niche, how do you say that word? Niche,
I think.
fan theories, I hope they don't give us something purposefully ridiculous out of spite. Yeah, I don't see them doing anything out of spite. I think they want this to be successful, a series, so I don't think there's any reason for them to be spiteful, but because it surprises me how often creators of shows and movies come to hate their own fans. Yeah, that is a phenomenon. I'm thinking, I don't think this is a hatred towards fans, but 2.5 Men and Chuck Lorre, he decided to use the final episode to express a grudge against Charlie Sheen that many fans did not appreciate. You know what I'm talking about?
No.
Okay. They basically had like something fall on a character that looked like Charlie Sheen but wasn't him, and then anyway, it is definitely something that happens where creators and do end up having hatred towards their own fans. I don't think that's the case here, though.
No, the Fromily is amazing.
Yeah.
Even the fans that are a little crazy.
Right.
And come up with the weirdest theories that don't make any sense. Other than the people that purposely spread rumors, they're not fans, they're trolls.
Right.
The actual fans of the show are all pretty awesome, even though they sit at various levels of comprehension and skill as far as dissecting things.
That was a very diplomatic way of saying that.
I believe it, though.
Yeah.
I do believe that there are trolls, and I'm not going to include them in the Fromily. I think they're muddying the waters a bit.
Yeah,
but
I think,
you have to take them out of the equation,
which is really hard to do.
When you're talking about the Frommeley.
It's really hard to take them out of the equation.
I know.
Because it's really hard to see sometimes, who's an actual person and who's a bot and who's the troll.
It got so hard, especially this season. Like, when people are asking questions and they're asking ridiculous questions, as a content creator in this field, my instinct is to answer the questions, right?
Yes.
And then you get to the point where you're like, is this somebody with a general question, genuine question, because they're a little lost and they need a little guidance, and I'm happy to be the person to help guide them? Or is it somebody being sarcastic, making fun of the people who are asking those questions? Or is it a complete troll or a bot or ridiculous something that we shouldn't be interacting with?
Yeah.
And it got to the point where you cannot tell between the three.
Yeah. And it's really, really unfortunate. Like they intend something to be simple and slightly clever mystery, but fans go too far and theorize something way more elaborate, clever, and intricate. Or they end up solving the actual mystery too early. So it upsets the creators that fans ruined their mystery game, so they change the answer to be something that's obviously meant to mock fans' theories. Yeah, again, I don't think they're going to do that, but...
That feels like a great time to bring up Eloise.
Okay. Yes, you're talking about the AMA again?
In the AMA, the question was asked, is Eloise alive and is she somebody we already know?
Mm-hmm.
And John and Jeff explicitly said in the AMA, Eloise is dead. And I'm paraphrasing. And this is an example of fans creating questions or creating theories on their own that we never intended to become theories.
Yes.
Now, I have a lot of thoughts on that, but to try and ground them a little bit, the way they said in the show, and this is where most of the Eloise theorying came from, was the way Victor describes to Henry burying a body, and he's like, there was only little bits and pieces, and I just assumed it was Eloise, but I'm not sure.
Right.
And that very, very much felt like foreshadowing that Eloise is alive.
Mm-hmm.
And these are very skilled writers. They're good at creating puzzle boxes. And I feel like if they didn't intend that to be to make us think that she could still be alive, that doesn't make sense to me. That they're like, oh, we didn't ever intend anyone to take that away. But they're telling us Eloise is dead.
Yes.
Now, one possibility, and I don't know how much I believe this, but one possibility I think could be true is this statement in and of itself is them doing puzzle box writing and giving us a little bit of a red herring and saying she's dead. They didn't necessarily say she died as a child during the massacre.
That's true.
They didn't spell it out that way.
Right.
So the fact that she's dead now doesn't 100% guarantee that there's not more to her story that we don't know.
Fair enough.
And it doesn't guarantee that she didn't, for example, story walk to the 1500s and die there.
Right. That makes sense. Yeah.
So, given the fact, and if this was just like a cast member or somebody, in production saying this, you kind of take it at face value. But this is John and Jeff saying it. The ones crafting the mysteries and the puzzle boxes in the first place. So I do think it's possible that they are crafting their comments very carefully to not lie to us, but also where their words could have some sort of double meaning.
All right, fair enough.
And I forget why I brought that up. What was happening in the comment you're reading?
She's worried about them basically mocking fan theories and hating fans and changing the story to reflect that and ending a story out of spite. But yeah.
There was something specific in there that prompted me to go into the Eloise plotline. But anyways.
Yeah, she finishes this off with, I'd rather they stick with their original plan and don't worry about whether it confirms or denies fans' theories than them trying to debunk theories that they hate. Yeah, I think they are very aware of fan theories.
Yeah.
They've made reference to them, but I don't think they're changing their story.
I don't want them to change their overall story, but I do hope that they listen to the fandom as far as, like, what are the biggest questions fans have.
Yep.
And make sure they give us some sort of answer to the biggest questions. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like, I mean, I'll stick with Eloise. Them saying in an AMA, she's dead. And if their thought is, that's it, she died in the massacre, I hope the show, in canon, addresses it in some fashion.
Gotcha.
Give us some image of her dying in the massacre to close that storyline in canon, not just in an AMA that not everybody is seeing.
Right.
Because the fandom very much feels like that's an open thread right now.
Yes.
Of what happened to Eloise.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, in that regard, what happened to Christopher? We don't know. We want to know.
Yes.
So I hope that they are taking fans' curiosity into consideration in the final season. In addition to telling the story they want to tell, I hope they are trying their best to answer questions that have arose within the fandom.
Makes sense. All right, Laura S. Claire's deal with MIY was for Claire to go home. She even asked if they go into the tunnels, can I still go home? I don't think there was any more to the deal than that. She thinks it's cut and dried. The deal was just for her to go home and do something for her later, basically. The Man in Yellow.
Yeah, but why?
Why? I don't know.
Why would Man in Yellow have made a deal with this random person out of all the people? That's my question.
Maybe.
What prompted the deal?
Maybe the MIY sensed the fact that Claire was a total coward and would go along with it.
Maybe.
Regardless. All right. So, Elgin didn't give in to Sophia long enough to get help. Okay. Elgin didn't give in to Sophia long enough to go get help. I kind of wondered that too, because he might be giving his soul over to something demonic and evil. If you're a Christian, you know not to be making deals like this and to stand fast in your faith even at the cost of your life. He did better than I would have. I might have made the deal long enough to get help and maybe lost my soul. All right, so this goes back to our conversation about Elgin, which I have quite a bit to say. This is more or less what I was trying to say, but I didn't have the language for it because, you and I, we don't share these beliefs. We don't have these beliefs, so we don't understand them as much.
I do understand that perspective.
Okay.
But I still think he should have done more.
Fair enough.
Even if he wasn't going to agree to the deal because, he thought that was going to give his soul away or something, he still could have fought back. He could have taken a swing at her. He could have screamed for help. He could have said, Sophia is the Man in Yellow as she's getting killed.
Right. I mean, how... We have never actually known Elgin in any kind of way to be violent or do anything other than shuffle his feet and be quiet.
He kidnapped a woman.
Okay, fair enough.
Dragged her into a root cellar.
All right. But, Elgin's actions here are actually explained in episodes earlier when he was talking to Julie, in the sense that he was saying that this was a test. This was a test of his faith, and perhaps, God testing them all, perhaps. Julie was not buying this, but this explains his actions here.
Yeah, I do see it.
Yeah.
But I still feel like it was dumb of him not to do more.
I mean, fair enough. But it also goes back to a conversation that we had a little bit earlier in the season about free will. Do any of these people actually have free will? And in the case of Elgin, his belief system makes it so that he actually does not have free will. In a sense, he is programmed to act in the manner in which he does. So, yeah, that goes back to that free will conversation. He cannot do more than what he does here because he is not programmed to do otherwise. And, it's something that neither you or I understand because, once again, we don't share those beliefs. But it is within his character and consistent with his belief system.
But he didn't feel that way when he agreed to kidnap somebody and do all that.
Yeah, I don't know. For whatever reason, he didn't see the kimono woman as a devil figure, but he very much sees Sophia as basically the devil.
Right.
Making a deal with the devil would be failing the test.
Right.
Yeah. That's what I have to say about that, but yeah. Molly M. Number 1. Now that Bottom is a monster, the golem lacks its maker, so according to common golem lore, there is nothing to activate the golem. If Dave is right and the golem is a metaphor, I will be so disappointed they wasted a potentially fun subplot. Once again, I hope I'm wrong, but yeah. If I am right, it's not like they're ever going to come out and tell me that. So
I have seen suggestions that the golem will act as a talisman.
I have actually
for
made that
Colony House.
I did actually make that suggestion as well.
Oh, maybe you're where I saw it.
Right, yeah. I said that in the podcast at one point.
If they all just huddle in Colony House, will it protect them?
Right. Yeah.
Because of the intent that was put behind building it.
Maybe. Number 2, when Tabitha showed Boyd the talisman in episode 9, there's 2 people in the center, a half sun and a half moon, and 8 brush-like markings around them. I thought the markings were the children, but there are 8 ghastly children, so there is another child. She corrects herself, she says, sorry, 7 ghastly children. Is the 8th child the boy in white or Eloise? Do Jade and Tabitha need to find his or her bones? Or do the 8 markings represent something else?
Well, that goes back to us having no idea what or who the boy in white is.
Right.
So without knowing that, I don't know. I feel like anything's possible.
Gotcha.
I've also seen suggestions that those marks don't represent the kids at all, and Tabitha was wrong, and those are about the trees, because there are 8 different faraway trees.
Okay.
Which I didn't dig into that deeper, but...
Gotcha. Number 3, I agree this is a game for MIY and BIW, and with your interpretation of the final scene, in my opinion, the bottle tree would make it easier for the humans to win, but it's not necessary. Or no bottle tree means future Tabitha can not retrieve future Henry, which means now Henry is vital to winning and the humans must win this time.
Well, there wouldn't be a future Henry because Jim is dead.
Yes. And I can't think of who a equivalent of Henry would be now in the real world.
Speaking of Henry, do you know one thing I saw somebody mention that I don't think we've actually talked about ever on mic is, and I don't know if I've even talked to you about it off mic, the suggestion that nothing in From can kill Victor for whatever reason, and the only person who can kill him is one of his parents.
Okay.
Based on the whole, sacrificing your children thing.
Gotcha.
And the reason Henry was brought in was to kill Victor.
Oh. Which means that Victor still has a part to play in the story. Which I think so.
If that was... that fits with the whole, Man in Yellow trying to convince Henry to kill Victor in season 4.
Gotcha.
Which would imply Man in Yellow was the one who brought Henry in the first place. Which would mean it wasn't part of Boy in White's plan of sending her to Camden. So this gets really complicated. But
yes.
But this idea that maybe nobody can kill Victor except one of his parents.
Gotcha. I also would love to see some origin material. Your math on the monsters was interesting, and I hope they explain it in season 5, but I'm afraid monster math might be like talisman math, something we just have to go with. Yeah, my math was based on a series of assumptions, really,
right,
when it comes down to it. And it's assumptions that make sense to me, but, everything I said there could just be nonsense. Thanks for making the Frumley experience so much more enjoyable. I'll probably rewatch The Institute and Under the Dome now that I know that I have a fun companion podcast to listen to along the way.
Yay!
I hope you do Dark. I am the only person I know who watched it. All right, so Maui, this comment, along with many other comments about...
People have been suggesting Dark to us for quite a while.
And this last comment was like, all right, maybe we should actually do it. So there have been conversations about me and Stacie doing it. We're not there yet. We definitely want to do this series some justice because, it's an all-time great series. We want to be able to, really do a good job on it.
Yeah.
We were suggesting that perhaps we could find a co-host that hadn't actually watched the series because, part of our thing is speculating about where the story goes. And we can't really do that with Dark because we know where that story goes.
Right.
Although, I would say that part of the thing that we could be doing during that podcast is you explaining things to me that I don't understand. Which
that always exists, Dave.
Yes.
But I feel like having a virgin Dark viewer would be this would be the best show to do that with. To watch someone else explore it for the first time
Right.
And to see what connections they make without us leading them, I feel like that would be a great experience for our listeners and for us. To have somebody who's never watched it before. Because honestly, it is the very, very best time travel story I have ever experienced.
Right.
It is full circle, the best. Every single detail of every episode comes into play at some point.
Yeah, and, we were, running through our list of podcast friends, like, most of them, I can't imagine actually doing it with them, like Albie.
He doesn't have time is his problem.
Right.
He has 8,000 projects he's doing. I would love to do this with him. I think conceptually he would be a great candidate.
Yes.
I don't think he has the time to commit to it.
Right. And then there's Brian, who has the weirdest...
Brian has zero time to give us.
He has the weirdest schedule I've ever seen in my entire life. Damon has a similar problem, and he
doesn't have time.
He's like nocturnal. And we were completely opposite sleep schedules. And...
Right. We would also need somebody who is available during the day, which is when you're available. That eliminates most people.
So, the conversation is ongoing, and I would certainly love to do it, and I've been convinced that we need to at some point. We're just not quite there yet. I'm not quite there in convincing Stacie to do it just yet.
We also have so many other things we're already in the middle of.
Right, yeah. We have to at least finish off Under the Dome season 2, I think, which we only have a couple episodes of that left.
But then we have Quantum Leap that's been on the back burner that we were supposed to get back to in January. Yeah. And we're half a year further now.
Right, so we definitely have to do that. So eventually.
It exists. Yeah. In our brains.
Yes, yeah.
But no promises of when it's going to become a reality.
In the meantime, you do like Under the Dome. We don't necessarily have nice things to say about it. But, you can certainly watch those podcasts.
And you know what we should put on our someday list, too, is Wayward Pines.
Sure.
Because everybody who watches From has either suggested or been suggested to go watch Wayward Pines.
Gotcha.
And it falls in that same category where it's a much inferior show. But... it feels like a conversation that just fits the Fromily so much.
I'm going to say, it's inferior to From, but is it superior to Under the Dome?
I would say season 1 is superior and season 2 is pretend it doesn't exist.
Okay.
Maybe we should just do season 1 of Wayward Pines.
All right. I mean, that's not a huge
the way I've been describing it to people is pretend like season 2 is not a season 2, but a sequel series that's loosely based on the original series.
Okay. All right, Franny D, and this is our last comment.
Okay.
Hi, my name is Franny.
Hi, Franny.
Hi, Franny.
Is that her name? Let me look.
It is Franny. Oh, come on.
Point to me.
Franny
okay.
D.
This is how much I trust you in being able to read.
Okay. My name is Franny, and my sister and I have been listening to the pod all season. We love how you explore everyone's fan theories. Well, thank you for that. Wanted to share my fan theory. I think if Tabitha and Jade had been there before, then by that logic, their children have been there before too. So we have Ethan, Julie, Victor, and Eloise as children of their reincarnated parents. What if the way to get out of town is to save all the reincarnated children? If so, who else would be identified as children? All right, Franny, I appreciate the comments, and I'm also sorry that I'm going to have to disagree with you.
It happens.
Yes, the story, as I understand it, is that there were 8 parents, including Tabitha and Jade.
Parents, what?
8 sets of parents for 7 kids.
That would be kids. 7. We don't know if the 8th kid exists.
Okay.
We only know about 7 kids, and we know one of those 7 was Jade and Tabitha.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, so I'm getting that wrong.
So there were 6 other kids.
Right, there were 6.
Besides their kid.
Yeah, so they were given a deal. Sacrifice your children and get...
eternal life.
Eternal life. And they did so, but Tabitha and Jade, they did not
want... their original selves.
They did not want to participate
who were a couple and had a child, a daughter together.
Yes. Unfortunately, their children were sacrificed anyway. And this is what got these cycles started off. They were reincarnated to come back and save their children. So the children that they have after that are not reincarnations of their original children.
Right. That original daughter is very much one of the ghastly children. We've seen her.
Yes, who is dead and stuck in this place.
She is trapped.
And I don't think their current kids can be reincarnations of their, like maybe the kids were reincarnated after that. Like they had kids and the children they had after that were always reincarnated to be their children again. Except that can't happen in the case of Victor because Ethan and Victor are alive at the exact same time.
Right. Exactly.
With Julie, theoretically, she could be the reincarnation of Eloise.
It goes back to
yeah.
What concept of reincarnation do we believe? Because there's different ways, right? If you are reincarnated immediately after death,
yes,
then that can't be the case because if Eloise was reincarnated, she'd be the exact same age as Tabitha and Jade.
Right. So, I don't think they're literal reincarnations. I think that they just basically have people come in and play the same roles, as we've talked about many times.
Right.
Like, Boyd is not a reincarnation of somebody, but there was probably somebody who played the role of Boyd in prior cycles.
The person who becomes the leader, who's struggling with family things.
Right.
There's going to be parallels, but not necessarily they are the same souls coming back time after time.
Yeah, kind of like Ethan is playing, well, theoretically, we've had this discussed, Ethan is theoretically going to play the role of Victor, who is the last lone survivor.
Right.
And Eloise was possibly a story walker in the same way that Julie is. So they're not literal reincarnations, they're just coming back. They're just bringing in new people to play some of the same roles.
To repeat the patterns.
Right.
Or not even. We don't know.
Right. Yeah. So, yes. I don't think they're literal reincarnations. I don't think they can be real reincarnations. I think there was another thought I had here, but yeah. I've kind of lost it. But yeah. But I do appreciate your thoughts and the fact that you've been listening to us all season long.
Thank you, Franny, very much for commenting. Do you remember where she left this
Spotify.
comment?
That was on Spotify.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
And I wish you had name dropped your sister because I would also be giving her a shout out as well. But yeah, I never quite got that name.
Franny's sister.
Franny's sister.
That's her name now.
Okay. She has to go and tell her family that her name is changed to Franny's sister and all of her friends and so on and so forth. And yeah, that's all I got for comments.
All right. Do you have any other things that you're burning to talk about from?
Not that I can think of. I will say that the reception to the finale was decidedly mixed. Mm-hmm. And I don't think it was all trolls that felt that way.
Yep.
It seems to... On Internet Movie Database, it has a rating of 7, which is not as low as some of the lower-rated episodes. Which, again...
It's the lowest season finale on IMDb. Which I don't think is fair.
And I also don't think it means anything. But still, I should point that out.
I genuinely think some negative reactions was because people went in expecting it to be 90 minutes.
Yes.
I honestly think that affected that number.
Right.
And that sucks.
It does. It absolutely
that
does.
would affect what people would think of the episode. But we went into that week knowing that's exactly what was going to happen because that rumor had spread like wildfire. And after the episode aired, I saw so many people are like, what happened in 90 minutes? They told us it was going to be 90 minutes. They didn't. MGM Plus never said it.
They were even saying that after the episode aired. There were even some posts like saying, oh, the finale is going to be 1.5 hours. The episode's already aired. This has already been debunked. Why are you posting this shit?
Yeah, it's funny. All of the people who were, like, telling me I'm a liar and I don't have screeners and I couldn't possibly know it's a regular length episode.
Right.
That whole week prior to were, like, goading me on every comment I made, telling me that I'm just a loser and I'm making shit up. Right. They got very quiet after the finale aired. I never heard from any of them again.
Right. Yeah, I did. I also did not hear anything from the people that I was talking to as well. In fact, I think some of the people who posted that stuff deleted their posts because I couldn't find a lot of that. But yeah, I definitely think that hurt the finale. I also think that the length of the episode also hurt it a little bit.
Yeah, I do wish they had made it a little longer. It was one of the shortest episodes of the season.
Yeah.
And I said this before, but I think episodes 9 and 10 would both have been stronger if they had been one extended finale.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not how From's ever done it. They've always had just 10 episodes.
Right.
But I feel like 9 and 10 felt like one story. The blocks don't always feel like one story, but that felt like one story to me, 9 and 10.
Yeah.
Now, I did ask people that were complaining about the finale, like in Facebook groups, I said, would you have thought it would have been stronger if 9 and 10 had been an hour and a half finale? And people said no. So, I don't know.
Really?
I know a lot of people said they felt like it wasn't a finale. Like, it felt like they were waiting for the other shoe to drop, but that's often how finales work. It's called a cliffhanger, waiting for the other shoe to drop. That's the point.
Right. And I don't understand it. Like, oh, the rocks just went away. Like, that's a big deal.
It's a huge deal.
Right. Like, the fact that the talismans are gone.
I also saw so many people still saying we got 0 answers in season 4.
Right.
And I don't know if I should take them seriously or not, because how can anybody have watched this and think we didn't learn anything in season 4?
Right.
It's such a different story now than it was at the end of season 3. We got a ton of stuff this season.
Yes, absolutely.
At the end of season 3, we had just discovered Man in Yellow exists. We had no idea who he was or what he was. Now we know it's this shapeshifter who takes the form of dead people.
I mean, even the discourse has changed for us. Like, in the season finale, it changed to, this is a game.
Right, exactly.
So,
like, we did not know that before.
Right, yeah.
We had kind of maybe guessed it a little bit,
right.
But a lot happened in season 4, even if you don't think it did. Like, it did.
Yes.
Go back and look at the conversations from 2 years ago, and you'll see how much growth the story has had.
Yeah.
I even had one person who was being absolutely ridiculous in a group, and they were like, we've never learned anything throughout the entire course of the show. And I was like, really? The same stuff now that you did when you started watching episode 101? And they said, yeah.
So you knew about
So I made like this 3-paragraph thing. And I was like, wow, you must be really smart that you knew A through Z, right? I listed like all these things that have happened over 4 years.
That's a lot of effort to put into a troll.
And she goes, oh, I get it. You're just an asshole. And I was like, no, I'm just saying to your point. You're literally saying the show has not told us literally anything ever. And that's a ridiculous point to, position to have.
Right.
And I was just pointing that out.
That's a lot of effort to put into someone who's just not going to get your point.
Yeah, but I know. But, sometimes they get me there.
Okay. Yeah.
I can be very snarky when I'm in the right mood.
It takes a lot of effort to not go through every single post and just go, you're dumb. You're dumb. You're stupid. You're a moron.
Yeah.
But, I managed to restrain myself, but occasionally, I will.
And again, there are people who genuinely, missed something, have a question, have something that, I feel like could lead to a good conversation. But finding those people in the mix of the bullshit at this point is just so hard.
Yes. Yeah. All right. Do you have anything else to say? Anything else that you want to talk about?
I think we covered everything that was on my list of topics I wanted to hit on. We have trivia coming out in a couple of weeks. So that's going to be amazing. I can't wait. We need to actually go finish writing our questions. We have some, but we definitely need more. And to get ready for that, with some of our most dedicated listeners are joining us. If you want to join, there's still time as of when this is dropping, but not much time.
Right.
So if you haven't talked to us yet and you want to contact us this second, and we'll tell you when we're recording, because it's going to be very soon after this drops.
Right. At this point, the date and time has been solidified, I'm pretty sure.
Unless something weird happens and most people drop out.
Right.
At this point, we have more people on our list than we want to have anyways. That sounded bad. We invited more people than we expect to come.
Yes.
Because there is an upper limit on what's going to make a good game.
Right.
And I don't want to announce any of the special guests. I want it to be a surprise. But we have invited some special guests. And hopefully some cross-section of our special guests make it.
At least one.
Into the game.
At least one.
I think it's going to turn out to a really fun event, and I cannot wait. And if you're not involved in playing that game, be on the lookout for it to drop within the next couple of weeks. And it's going to hopefully be a lot of fun.
Yes.
I anticipate it will be.
Yes, absolutely. All right, we'd like to hear from you. What'd you think of this podcast? What'd you think of this season? Stacie can be reached at.
I can be reached on Twitter, X, Instagram, Threads, and Blue Sky at TVN Coupon Talk.
If you like this video and want to support your channel, there are a number of ways to do so. You can follow me on Twitter at Core Productions. You can join the Core Productions Facebook page. You can buy something from the Core Productions store on Zazzle. You can join the Core Productions membership starting at 99 cents a month. Gerard got to see our interview early because with Elizabeth Saunders and Cliff Saunders, because he was at the level of membership where he gets early release things that we drop early for members only. And of course he's at a greater level than even that. He's our assistant producer now.
And you can be too if you'd like to be.
But you don't have to spend that much money. I think the tier that for early release is around $5 if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
So, if any little bit helps the channel. And yes, of course, you can also like, share, and comment on this video, as well as subscribe to the channel. This is Dave and Stacie from Core Productions, signing off.